Questions then for Arne Slot to answer. Liverpool 1, Burnley 1. Liverpool are 4th, despite all their rubbish this season. They are 1 point clear of Manchester United. Big gap between them and obviously Aston Villa and City.
Look at that goal difference, +4 after 22 games.
It's a bit like City in a sense, isn't it? There shouldn't be any excuses. It's just not good enough.
But it's just weird.
No, but it's just not. It's not acceptable. It's not good enough. He had everything he wanted pretty much. All right, didn't get Mark Gay in the summer, right? But he didn't. Nobody thought that Konate and Van Dijk in particular would have poor seasons and Kerkez would struggle. But you know, he's got to address that, the manager. But he got pretty much everything else. I mean, they were just going to turn up, and everybody else was going to get on their hands and knees and give them the Premier League trophy. So to see some of their performances this year, it's embarrassing. And I saw a stat earlier. It's the first time in Premier League history a reigning Premier League champion has failed to beat a promoted side at home. And that they've drawn with Leeds, they've drawn with Burnley, they've drawn with Sunderland. There's nobody that turns up at Anfield and doesn't think they can win. And that's on the manager and the players. It's not good enough.
Like when Edwards scores, you think, right, everyone's going to rally now. And I suppose we thought that all season. And there's just no response. We've talked about, you know, that glass chin that Liverpool have.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, defensively, if you're playing against Liverpool, you know they're going to give you a chance. I mean, you just know. And regardless of how long you defend, like Burnley did today, when you know in the back of your mind that we can get at these, and we just need to get it right once. And that's pretty much what they did. They got it right probably twice in the game, and they took one of the chances. And then Liverpool have been doing going forward what they've been doing all season. There's no real combination play. There was a couple of times over the last 2 or 3 weeks when Frimpong's been playing that him and Verts have had a couple
of. What are
Liverpool
Liverpool doing in training up front to address this? Because as you say, we see it all the time.
I would guarantee you in training they're hitting the back of the net for fun. The problem is, training and games are two different animals. You know, you can set up in training, you know, ideally what you want is repetitiveness, right? And that means you're setting training up, you're doing exercises so that your forwards and your attacking players are hitting the back of the net. So that when they go into the game, they're confident. But of course, unfortunately, when you go into the game, the opposition stick people in front of you. And the opposition do things that they're not supposed to do. And so it completely changes the whole thing. But the biggest worry for me is there's no combinations with the forward players, really.
Yep.
You know, it's all individual stuff. And when it's all individual stuff, then the percentages just go down in terms of creating chances and scoring goals. And then when you can't defend, then it just needs one break, and all of a sudden, you drop 2 points.
It's not even a big story anymore, is it?
No.
That's the whole
it's not
thing. You look at the order that we were looking at today, it's like, what are we going to say is different about Liverpool?
But it should be. It should be, and maybe that's... Had Liverpool not won the Premier League last year, and they did, had they not, they would have been dragging, I think the Liverpool fans, that is, would have been dragging this manager through the coals. The fact that he came in and they did play so well, particularly for the first 6 months or 7 months of the season, domestically, and took the Premier League by the scruff of the neck. OK, they fell away at the end, but they'd already won it. The fact that he did that is allowing him, at the moment, this leeway for all these performances. And he can thank his lucky stars he got that, because had he not, and they had been just also-rans last year, he'd have been back in Holland by now, looking at some of these results. So we talked about it the other day, Stevie and I. Barring a disaster, he's going to get to the end of the season. Yeah. But if this is a continuation next year, he hasn't got a snowball's chance of staying in that job. Not a chance.
No, there's no sign of improvement. I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's no sign that what he's doing...
Well, he's got the Salah issue.
Yes.
Which, and again, next year, 1 year older. Van Dijk starting to struggle, 1 year older. So it doesn't get any easier when you get into your 30s like that and you start to struggle. It's much more difficult to have a bad season and when you're 33, 34 and flick a switch and come back in the summer and have a great season. Yeah. It's much easier to do that when you're 26, 27, 28. So if he can't address it, the chances of the form of some of these players getting better next year is is very slim.
Yeah, Oggy, the drop-off has been so stark, and it's a question that none of us thought we were going to be having at the start of the season, is questioning Slot's future, especially with a certain former Liverpool player who's just left his job at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, the backing for Slot amongst the fans is beginning to wear a bit thin, to be honest. I think, having been at games and spoke to, some Liverpool fans that I know, they are losing patience with Slot, and it's almost like they don't want to, but they are doing, because they accept that, he won the league last season and he had a great year, first year after Klopp, but I think they accept now that it's not looking great. And you're right, Xabi Alonso's available, and Xabi Alonso is kind of the darling of the Liverpool fans. He was their first choice to replace Jurgen Klopp, and none of them had actually heard of Arne Slot, to be honest, when he got the job, but they all wanted Alonso, but he ruled himself out pretty quickly. So the fact that he's there, obviously he'll want a break and he'll want to kind of freshen up, but when the summer comes, I'd imagine he'll be available. So that doesn't work well for Arne Slot. So he has to get something out of this season. He has to start finding a way to deal with those issues that Craig addressed. And I think the big one, the Mo Salah thing won't be an issue next season. It'll have to be resolved either now, in the next 2 weeks, or in the summer. I don't see Mo Salah being at Liverpool next season. I really don't. He may not even be here for the rest of the season. I think he will be, but that hasn't been resolved, that situation. He comes back from the African Nations on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. And, what does Arne Slot do? They haven't lost a game since he dropped him, but obviously they haven't been beating teams and turning up any trees, but they haven't lost. Now, when he put Mo Salah back in the team, the issues that they dropped him for in the first place, the lack of work rate, the lack of goals, if that remains the case, and it affects Florian Wirtz's kind of slow progress, then Mo Salah's a problem again. So Arne Slot's got a massive issue to address this when Mo Salah comes back. And it's kind of been brushed under the carpet a little bit. And I guess it's something that he's kind of dreading because, the Mo Salah situation, it was a hard one to solve last time. So that could blow up in the next few days.
And we'll be talking about Salah's future at Liverpool, of course, later on in the week when he returns from the African Cup of Nations.